Work-life balance. The thing that every influencer talks about online, the thing that every person has an opinion on, every podcast talks about. Alex Hormozy says he hasn't got any because he loves what he does. I have friends who say, well, I don't believe in it. I love work and I do this. But other people who say, no, there has to be a strict balance between this, and it's separated like Vogue. So I'm going to give you my take on it. Look, do I think a work-life balance exists when you're an employee? Yes. Do I think a work-life balance exists when you are the employer and you are self-employed and you're doing your own thing and you're running your own business? Yes. But I think the divide is a bit more blurry. I think it's more of a dotted line than it is when you're employed, which is more of a solid line. Not always, but when you are self-employed, that line is going to be a bit blurry. There are going to be excursions, kind of across the border. And that's just part of it. And there isn't really much you can do, in my opinion, to stop that. Now, once you reach a certain business size, and once your business becomes a certain level of established, I think it becomes a lot more of a solid line. And you can have a lot more control over, these elements in your business and how much it kind of forays into your life. And for me, balance essentially means having separation from work and non-work, but also having integration, right? In what that means is there is a clear separation. When you're working, you're working. When you're chilling. But there is some integration of, well, you're a property investor and you're on holiday in Bournemouth. You might want to look at some properties when you're there because you're there and it saves you 3 hours. But at the same time, you might not want to because it might piss off your wife. So, for me, there's integration and separation. And what that means is balancing your commitments to one thing, i.e. work, business, and your commitments to your life and to the other people's lives that you are part of and that you share your life with. Now, I think it is absolutely possible. And I think this, although it's harder at the start, I think having some set kind of non-negotiables, some set boundaries, some set principles about how you're going to balance this from the start is really, really important. Because start how you mean to go on. Don't just, I'm going to commit everything and then not do this and monk mode. And then in 6 months, I'll suddenly be a social animal and I'll have lots of friends and I'll be going out there. I don't think it's going to happen like that. I'm just saying, right? But one of the first things you can do to ensure this balance is to prioritize. So, on a Monday, what are you prioritizing? On a Friday, what are you prioritizing? If it's your partner's birthday, if it's your kid's birthday, if it's your mum's birthday, but you've got this important work thing, what are you prioritizing? Is it whatever's first in the diary? Is it that you put your family before everything? Is it your kids stuff before everything? Or is it your work before your kids? Which one are you going to regret, when you're older? And I think having those non-negotiables, this is where it comes into it. Because if you say, I'm going to every single one of my kids' recitals, that's an American thing, isn't it? Assemblies. I'm going to go to all of my wife's, I don't know, whatever, events. Whenever, my grandparents are call me, I'm going to go visit them. Doesn't matter what's happening at work. Okay, that's a non-negotiable. That is a non-negotiable. So you can't negotiate on it, yeah? Everything is negotiable. No, these are not. Because you're setting it with yourself. And almost on a micro scale as well, it's okay, well, I'm working from home from 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. My partner comes home at 6. I'm going to prioritize them for that 1 hour. And then if they're chilling, we're chilling. I'm going to go back to work if I have to. So sometimes your priorities are flexible. It's, I will go back to working if there's something on that I need to do. If there isn't, then, or if it's not urgent, then I think I'll leave it to wait. It's all about what you're going to regret and what you're going to think about later and what you're going to look back on, but also your financial situation. If you need to make money, then you will have to prioritize certain things and make sacrifices. And that's when the balance tips, right? But that for me is like a temporary roadworks. It's where the balance tips and you sacrifice, but in the long run, you don't necessarily want that. You still want there to be a balance of some sort, right? And part of kind of prioritizing also, I think, is creating boundaries. So physical ones, there is my office. So when I go in there, I'm working. When I'm out here, I'm not, right? Physical boundaries are so, so important. But also boundaries on, I'm not answering my work emails at 10 p.m. before I go to bed, you know. I'm not going to send messages to my staff before 9 because then it affects their work-life balance, you know. I'm not going to talk about X before this time. You know, I'm going to put my phone in do not disturb mode when we're playing with the kids, you know. When I go see my family, it's on silent, you know. If it's really urgent, they'll get a hold of me, you know, but it'll probably be okay and they'll probably figure it out themselves. But also not feeling guilty with these boundaries and the power of saying no, you know. If your non-negotiable is actually, I'm in monk mode, I'm going to work like crazy for 6 months because I have to, like financially I need to. You get invites to parties, you get invites to like things that you might go to normally frivolously, but now you're like, hell to the nah, I'm not going. And you know, the power of not feeling guilty for that because you don't want to go, because you have other priorities. Because right now in your life, you're at a stage where you're not doing that. You're not, you know? Another thing that I think helps with this balance is delegating and outsourcing like a boss. Having VAs, having staff, having a team. There are people who can do admin better than you. There are people who are bookkeepers for life. You're not, unless you are. They can do it better and quicker than you and probably cheaper than your hourly rate. So you're making a net loss. If you haven't calculated your hourly rate, how do you know what you should outsource? I know what my hourly rate is, a couple of £100 minimum. So if I can pay someone way less to do a task and they do it quicker and better than me, I'm going to do it, right? Make it make sense. 50 Cent said it. If it don't make sense, it don't make dollars. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Yep, you got it. Now, things like social media as well, you can outsource to an extent. I'm sitting here talking to you. But after this, I ain't involved, you know? I ain't involved. I pay someone and it all gets done. That's the ideal. Yes, I lose profit. Yes, I could make more money, but I have more time and I have more life. And that's the balance I've chosen. You might not. You might say, actually, I want that extra money a month. I'm not going to outsource it. So therefore, your balance is tipped that way. But it's still a balance, you know? And by not having that, by working from, 8 a.m. till 10 p.m. and then going to bed and then waking up and doing it again, like, there is no balance. There is no time for life there. I don't care how much you enjoy it, how much you think you're a little fucking Hormozy twin, wannabe, whatever. Like, just because he can do it doesn't mean you should, or like, you know what I mean? Like, it's important to have balance. And I think it's important to listen to people like him, but also listen to people like me, who give you that balance. And when I speak to, businesses that I'm consulting on, mentees in business, in property, I always say to them, well, like, what do you want? What the first session is, well, what's the goal and why is it the goal? Oh, it's 8K a month. Well, what does that mean? Like, what is that for? Like, what is the life you want to live? What is the life you're currently living? How does that balance look? How do we get there? How do we make sure we get there sustainably, longevitily? How do we do that? And that's always the first session. That's what we do. And, playtime, schedule playtime, whether it's Xbox, whether it's chilling with Netflix, chilling your family, cooking, family time, walking, whatever it is, like, you should schedule these things in, because if it's not in your calendar, in your diary, and I'm so guilty, oh my God, I'm so guilty of this. I will forget, like, honestly, I will forget, totally. So get that shit in, man. Even if it's like a recurring thing, every day at 7 p.m, I read bedtime stories, whatever. If you haven't got a kid and you're reading bedtime stories, that's weird. But I mean, sure, like, do your thing. This also reduces burnout, boosts your energy, keeps you healthy, takes your mind off things, lets you recharge, get back to work, get back to the problems with a fresh mind and fix the things that need fixing. Also, I think, checking in and adjusting, being somewhat flexible is important, because it's very easy to claim you want a work-life balance and to say you're working on it. But if you don't have like journaled check-ins that you can look back on as well, every week, every couple of, whatever it is, where you're saying, this is how I feel, this is how I felt, this is how productive I've been. And again, something I do on the first meeting with people I consult and mentees is KPIs, so that we can look back and say, you felt like you did a lot of work, but looking at your KPIs, you really didn't. So what's up? And then we can adjust, right? Or I did so much work, that was so easy. And your KPIs say, actually, yeah, that was too easy. Let's adjust. But you can only do this if you are tracking the data, right? Like, if you're not tracking the data, getting somewhere is like using Waze instead of Google Maps. It's constantly rerouting, constantly scanning, looking for traffic, looking for roadworks. Can we go around this? You know what I mean? The algorithm's constantly scanning, looking. It's not just set and forget. Destination, and we get there. No. It's always looking for other ways to do that. And that doesn't mean you do it every day. Set, weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, whatever, reviews. But by tracking your KPIs or having someone to keep you accountable, like a mentor, like a coach, whatever, can help massively with that work-life balance. Because it's easy sometimes to sit there and to think you're working because you're at your desk. But you're not producing anything. You've been there, right? You're just I don't really know what I'm doing and what's going on, but you think you're working, but you're not. Who the hell wants that? You could be chilling in that time, or you could be producing some good work in that time. Again, that comes from KPIs and data and tracking and being accountable or being held accountable. So look, people, for me, those are my views on work-life balance. It absolutely exists. You absolutely can create it with a combination of non-negotiables, checking in regularly, scheduling playtime, outsourcing and delegating, and just ensuring that things are prioritized for your balance, for your stage in life. But also to make sure the people around you, partner, friends, network, people you live with, people you talk to, whatever, that they understand. They may not understand, why you're doing it, but they just need to understand that you are doing it, and that is the choice you've made. Obviously, be aware it may affect your interpersonal relationships, blah, 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 disclaimer, public service announcement. But I think work-life balance exists. What do you think? Send me a message on Instagram. Leave a comment below. I hope you're enjoying my 30 videos in 30 days, kind of spread out. But it's in 30 days, 30 videos and podcasts. And if you're on Spotify, roll up, give me 5 stars. If you're on Apple reviews, you can figure it out. I don't have an Apple phone. I have Apple computers though. And people, I will see you on the next video.